Yeah, oh, Prof here, and Miss Paisley Maria is sleeping. She's not in sausage cat mode, but nearly. We have some things to open that I mentioned in a previous video. Oh, did I wake you up? I'm horrible, aren't I, Miss Paisley? Yeah. Look at that, they even get to eat in my bed. Yeah? How'd that end up there? So, originally I was going to open this with Squares at work. We ran out of time because one of the other guys stopped on in to catch up with us, and this came in before I even left for work. So we're going to be opening up both of these in this video. For those EDC guys, no, we definitely should not do the same video. Eeny, meeny, miny. Wait, we're going to do the mouse first. Watch her kick that off, because that's her spot. So there's a body pillow right there usually. All right. So of this side of the body pillow, that's her, because if the body pillow's there, she can't get like literally kicked off. And you're like, why would you kick your cat off the bed? I'm sleeping. I'm sure you do things when you're sleeping that you don't intend on doing, that just regularly happen. I still haven't taken pictures of the weird part on my case. You gotta make the noises. Oh, we're pretty dark from that direction. I only forgot to turn on an entire light. Alright. Oh, G309. Oh, I forgot to bring my vaccine home. Well, I sent a support thing and it might not go through. My Vaxi XE orange is having issues, my wired orange one from Vaxi, where the scroll wheel is rubbing something internally on the mouse. And you're like, wired one? You get a wireless one, and you got a blue one somewhere around here. I don't know where. Oh, not blue, orange. I was looking for oranges. My one at work is orange, but this is the small version, XE small. And I have the original wired one at the office because I just leave it plugged into the dock, and then I don't have to worry about it. I don't worry about charging it, etc. And it's the shape I like. But I don't have to worry. Like, it's not really the one I want to game with at home, etc. Well, if you click the middle click and scroll, it gets like stuck or something is loose inside and spins. I reached out to him. I think it's a bit over 2 years old, so there's a good chance they want warranty. We'll see if they say anything. I think they're actually stopping selling wired mice, so who knows. Maybe I'll at least get a coupon to a new one or something. Never hurts to ask. Otherwise, we'll probably take it home, get the feed off, dissect it, and see what's happening. See if it's the actual encoder that's slipping, like gears on the encoder, or if it is, could be the rubber on the outside slipping around the wheel. We'll get her working again. So 309, that is, I was gonna say Logitech's newest mouse. It still technically is. The Superlight Dex is not out yet. And then apparently they made a new G Pro. They made a G Pro 2, which is not the G, because there's the G Pro, then there's the G Pro Superlight, then there's the G Pro Superlight 2. I thought the new Pro was like an even newer, because the Dex got released. Like, oh, you took the Dex things and put them in the Superlight 2. Now it's like the Superlight 2 Plus or something. Nope, the Pro 2 is actually just the Pro with the guts of this, or the guts of the Dex. Either way, it has the right side buttons you can magnetically take on and off, and it's heavier. I don't know why anybody would buy that, unless you're lefty. But that's literally the only reason. Like, if you're a right-handed person, I do not know why you would buy the G Pro 2 and not the Superlight 2. If anybody knows, comment down below. It's like they made a lower-end model, but it's not really any lower end, except that it's heavier and has buttons on the right side. Explain, please. So, G309. This is supposedly the replacement of the G305. Boo, shouldn't have to replace it. G305 is a good one, except it doesn't have Bluetooth. This apparently does have 300 hours on a AA battery. I'm going to assume that's at, here, AA battery. It doesn't say what pulling. That's bullshit. If you're clarifying the 300 plus hours is with a AA battery, you should also clarify what polling rate it's at. I can almost guarantee, because this is Bluetooth and the dongle, it's going to be the Bluetooth end. Also, they say 68 grams with PowerPlay TM. That means sans battery. Most people, however, are going to use this with the battery. So on the box, it shouldn't just say 68 grams with PowerPlay below the battery. It should then say blah 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 grams with battery. Like that. So it's like feather light, yeah. When you use the PowerPlay dongle and the PowerPlay mat, so it doesn't have to have a battery in it. The other thing about this guy is nobody was asking for this. The shape is different. It reminds me of the one Alienware mouse, but apparently Square says the actual physical size of it, because the Alienware mouse, that looks like a Logitech mouse, because Logitech always used to OEM a lot of the mice for Dell and Alienware. We're using the new box cutter, the bolt action box cutter. I did have to tighten up that front screw. It no longer shifts. If it does loosen again, I'll just give it a little dab of Loctite. But yeah, so nobody really asked for this. G305 is a good mouse. Even my mom likes, actually, she likes G305. Issue, once again, yes, I know it's a gaming mouse. She doesn't want it as a gaming mouse. She wants Bluetooth for work, right? And if you go way back, the shape that the G305 uses is actually a productivity mouse shape, or not even a productivity mouse necessarily. It's just like a like general Logitech mouse shape, but they never brought it back to the standard business general use. It's a nice little, I think it's paper sack. It gives me weird, tingly, bad, touchy feelings. Oh, that's wide. Yeah, this reminds me very heavily. Yeah, they're pushing PowerPlay, because that is how they want you to use it. And I don't disagree. They want you to use the PowerPlay mat. It does feel light right now. I do not like it. Yep, straight up already. I can tell you. Uses the stupid scroll wheel of that one, or it looks very similar to the one, like, gaming line for girls. They kind of have it advertised as. It's got a very high ass up here, because the bump is pushed all the way back here. Right, so basically what that does is it forces it to feel very tall, because the bump happens sooner. The further the bump happens forward, generally, the lower the mouse feels, because the angle of your palm goes from here to here to here, if that makes sense. Right? And I'm saying the lower it'll feel for the same height, like overall height of the mouse, because it goes yeah, instead of like woo. We can use the Vaxi XE as an illustration here. Right up there is the point, so it goes. There's our max point. Ooh, instead of like. Right. And if this is replacing a 305, which I don't have access to, I'm not saying it's bad actually, but it is. What is it? What mouse does this remind me of? Not the Bolt. This is wider than a Bolt. It's like pretty wide and flat. Like my hand is pretty, like I have a decent sized hand. And that's my grip right there. That's a pretty wide grip. Versus here. Yeah, this is just a bigger mouse, like considerably. Let's grab the XE Small edition. So here is the XE Small SMOL edition, or it's just the S. That is much more similar in size. Okay, so if we grab this, my hand is here. Yeah, it does not fit over. So if I grip this, my hand is here. Like I said, it feels like high in the butt, low in the front, and wide. I don't know that this is necessarily a shape people want. Yeah, so I don't even know how to illustrate this. Well, I might be able to just pop this on here. Here, you can basically see the grip. That's how much wider it is. Feeling-wise, at least. Might even be a little bit more. Like that whole chunk right there. Oh, this reminds me of the... Hold on. Yeah. No, I even hear the bumps here. Like there. Like that's where it hits the palm. It's kind of like square. You can see where it pinches in. They know exactly where it's going to hit, right? So I thought it might kind of feel like this. And this is kind of getting into the realm of the Cooler Master Sentinel. That's probably why I kind of like the shape. Dude, I don't think I mentioned that before. Yeah, this feels very Cooler Master Sentinel. I got reminded of that the other day because Mooski and I were talking about like all these like classic, like he found like an old Reddit post because we were talking about like the old MX518 and stuff like that. And one on there was the Cooler Master Sentinel. And I'm like, yeah, they actually sent me the Sentinel 3. That was the first one Cooler Master sent me. They're like, oh, we didn't see this one in your collection. Here you go. Kind of cool. If any other manufacturers out there want to send me especially older models, like anybody can get and buy your current... Oh, these are kind of smushy. Smush. Smush. These are smushy. Smush. Click. Smush. Click. Smush. That's it. You know, like... I'm gonna try and game on this tonight. Yeah, that is like noticeably smushy. Annoyingly. And you're like, get the other... What's the other one you usually use? Okay, so in the drawer is the Fanatic, or the I ended up not getting the Hyperspeed Death Header, because I have the Pro Death Header. Or do I have the No, I have the Hyperspeed Viper. I did not buy the Hyperspeed Death Header. May still to have it in the collection, but I actually think the Viper is now a better Death Header than the Death Header is. So, you know, that's a regular. This one's kind of a regular. The Corsair, this is like their one good mouse. M75 Air. It's available cheap now. When I bought it in this special edition, limited edition yellow, not cheap. Another one that you probably can't get anymore, you can get the Lamzu one this is based on. You cannot get the Fanatic version, to my knowledge, because that was like a limited run. This is this was one of the first mice after the XE, like as my main, that I picked this up and just played an entire night with this mouse without thinking about it. And you're like, what do you mean without thinking about it? Like okay, so when you're testing out mice, at least like when I do, I always keep a benchmark nearby. Lately, that's been the XE because I had enough of them around here that I could use one for work. For the longest time, even though my main mouse might have been an EC2 or a Death Adder or, you know, various other mice at the time, I would still always use the Rival 3 as the benchmark because that was also available on RX3 as a lightened form, and the shape was the same. Also, I mained that as my work mouse for the past, I don't know, 3 years plus, I think. Now this, I was actually thinking about it becoming the work mouse. I had to get, in my opinion, you have to get the white one because you get this nice translucent color on the bottom. Really a fan of that vibe. Could be a little bit more translucent. I think they went too hard and heavy on this. So shape-wise, this does kind of, it still reminds me of a smaller version of that, Alienware mouse. Like very much so. All right, I'm gonna have to find another adapter and stick a AAA in here. I was actually considering buying the PowerPlay mat, but like this is the only mouse that I have it for, like that I would be interested in using it with, and I had a feeling I wouldn't like this mouse enough to do that. So if I want to grip this the way I do with my like rear palm grip, where I come from the rear, whereas David's got more of like I would call it like a high or a top palm grip, where he puts his hand on the top, like much more forward. That's definitely not going to work here. From a rear, it does kind of work. Like this would be a great fingertip mouse, I think. Fingertip mice, if you look at like a G9, G9X, like from back in the day, that's got a lot of that vibe to it. Generally, fingertip are closer, like a wider mouse and lower. You can use those for claw as well. Like the Spawn and Zornet or Respawn. I forget which model it is. G7 something. 730. I forget which model that is. It's not like that because it's not that wide and it doesn't have a finger groove, right? But the grip back here, like it tapers forward, very much like that Corsair mouse, the M75 that I showed you. Except this is a much smaller mouse. You don't really rest, like the back of your palm is not resting on it. You're resting like this on the shelf, like your those aren't your backside of your knuckle, because that's your knuckle. Backside of your knuckle is resting, because here's the ass, right? So your knuckles are resting right there. I'm not saying you're not gonna like the shape, but there are no shapes right now, I don't think off the top of my head, that would give you this same sort of feeling. Maybe if you're a Corsair M65 user, especially like an older M65, not the M65 Elite, maybe. But then even then, it's wider. Like the grip just feels wide for the other aspects of the mouse. It's not like necessarily a particularly wide grip on a mouse. And like this probably totally unneeded. I have to wonder how like the clicks are so thick and hollow feeling because they're separated like this. Like I mean, I know they're going for a look. You know, they did that on, like I said, the I don't remember if it was the 703 series, not the G703. Might have been 703. But it had the same plastic on it. Now this is definitely not like. Wait, I say this is not a productivity mouse. Should probably check their line real quick. I say that because they've definitely reused shapes, and that's why they've been complete shit. Logitech, mice, gaming, for gaming mice. All right, so. Oh, there's the G7, G303 Shroud. I'd probably take that over this. The Dex just came out. Yeah, G309. They already have special editions of the 309, even though it just came out. G705, not 703. Yep. 705 is basically a productivity mouse. It actually has a very similar vibe. This same sort of cutout is in there. Unless you need a laptop mouse that is a gaming laptop mouse, and for some reason you don't want to buy the Razer Orochi, then maybe get the G705. But like it's, if I recall, it's not like even a proper gaming sensor. It literally is just one of their like productivity mice slapped on, like gamified. You know what I mean? Featured by new. Why do they have an M7575S? And they have an MX Ergo S. What does the S do? Okay. Logitech S mouse products. Why? That's the AI. Looks like the MX Ergo S got bolt and USB-C. The M75S got the bolt and Bluetooth now. Okay, that makes sense because the M75 was either the universal or Bluetooth, and the basically I had bolt and multi-pairing and stuff. It's like a slightly updated variant. Gag M330. Oh, you had the M720 triathlon. That makes yeah, I don't know. The shape of this definitely, you know, like reminds me of that like the design styling of this. I still don't know. There's a mouse that has this style. The gap, there is no gap here like they did here, right? So imagine it's like that. You know, like looks like that. And it's a bigger mouse, like kind of like the Corsair M75. I was thinking like the Haste, but then that's not right. Yeah, so it's not a new look. It definitely tapers forward. Unlike the ambi mice I normally like, which sort of taper in and then back out. Or egg-shaped. Like, it is kind of egg-shaped, but like, I guess not like a, like I would think IntelliMouse Optical, the Rival 106. There might be a Roccat mouse that kind of looks like this as well. Either way, the only way to know if it's any good is to game with it. I'm going to give you guys a quick tour, little spin around here. So there's its rear hind quarters. Let's give her a little spin. So you can see it's basically a straight shot to the front. Heavily tapers. That's probably why these have to squish in so much. They also tip. You can see. Like the hinge in, sort of. Traditionally, we've tried to go away from that. So the reason why it's probably so mushy, right, is because they added this extra chunk of white here, right? and it's got to push through that. That's why they're so big, and you got to push them in there. Is because this whole white, basically, right here, that's extra. That'd be my guess, internally, without pulling it apart. This scroll wheel reminds me of the 705, which is based on, like, they have, like, just cheap mice that have this same style. Probably looks cool when RGB comes through it. That's probably why they chose it. That's why I chose the white one with the translucent gray shell there. Let's just keep going around and see. Okay, so you can't see it here, but if I go down and I keep backing up, you'll start seeing, like, you can start seeing the butt. Right? And you can also see, okay, like, at least from my angle, that, see how the highest point keeps not changing? It's here. Like, it hits that so soon. Like, it's way back there. Like, you're looking up and over. Like you can see from this angle where the ass is. It's like it peaks, crests, like, way back there. And yes, it still keeps going up, but that's where that huge, you know. Let me know if you guys know not just what mice look like this, but kind of describe. Like, this thing's like low in the flat, low in the front. It doesn't necessarily look wide as it feels, I think. Here's another thing that I would mention. Some people always go off of, like, measurements are king. These measurements fit your ideal mouse, so it'll fit you. Yeah, what happens between those measurements, like the front and the back, or the sides and the top and the bottom, like, just because this is the height you like, doesn't mean the bits going this way and the bits going that way are correct. Stick your hand on it, is what I'm saying. And sticking my hand on this, it just feels weird. Okay? Like, it seems overly wide by about the thickness of this plastic. Like, if you see where that seam is, you know, if you made it that much thinner on both sides, I would like it more. Now, that might just be my preference. Maybe some of you guys like, I really don't think this is a claw mouse. Let's keep going, though. I'm not saying it's claw mouse like they said that. I'm just saying that, like, it really seems fingertippy to me, and I just feel like there are not that many fingertip players out there. So, once again, the other thing is, like, you're seeing almost no curve on the sides here. It's just flat. Right? You also don't see, like, I would like to see a bit of taper. Nope. No taper. So, you know, like, there's a reason why stuff like that exists. Let's put it that way. It's also kind of why I don't like the HyperX pulse power that much, because it tapers out. Like, it flares the base. Depending on your grip, that could be fine. For me, I kind of like squeeze it out. So it's symmetrical on both sides. So, and it's kind of hard to see, but if I raise it up here, you might be able to see, like, it's shiny, like, right there. Not even on the logo. Like, that's where the logo should probably be, because that's where the high point is. Obviously, visually, that wouldn't look as nice. I think visually, a lot of people are like, oh, yeah, it's the G309 shape. No. Like maybe visually from the top, right? It is wider, and where the crest of the buttocks is. Now, they could easily switch that, probably, by changing out this. Unless it's needed for the battery or something. And if they designed the rear piece of a mouse just for a battery, no, you design the shape of the mouse that you want, then you fit the guts to it. Not like, oh, we need more butt. Like, maybe that's why that crest is back there that far, is because, you know, because of the battery and how they held it in and stuff. What do I know? But then, remember, this was designed technically to use the power play and not the, like, listen to that. Oh, that is... Middle click at least feels good. I think we looked it up. It is just one of those button switches. It's not even a full switch. And I just broke a smaller full switch on the Vaxi. I can tell you, I know from previously mainlining Logitech mice back in the G502 era. Never broke my 502, but broke my 402. Broke multiple 602s. Broke a 302, the middle click, that is, because they use those optical ones with the little button on there, and I use middle click for reload. Reload, you know what I mean? And it just wore them out. I also tend to break the back button, because I don't go like that, I just go like that, and some of them, you press it, and it just goes crunch and pushes all the way in. What is kind of annoying is that there's a lot of, like, pressure needed, but then there's, like, a lot of post-travel. Where's the reset? Yeah, so look at that's how much you actually need for travel. That's just gonna be a little tack switch or something. That's good pre-travel. Like, as much as I'm hating on this, being able to click it back here. That's good pre-travel. Post-travel, it's got to be truthful, that is one thing, you know, like you should always look for some good things in a product, right? Now this piece of plastic up top feels too thick, so you don't, in my opinion, you don't feel as like. And this one isn't even the best, because even that's pretty thick, but they have hollowed it out up here. That's just thicker down here for the post-travel. But yeah, if you look at this, there's more pre and way more post-travel on the standard XE. On the XES, I'd say it's a heavier switch. I know some people have a problem with that. It's probably about the same on pre-travel. A little bit more post-travel. But the actual, like, you feel like you're pressing the switch directly. Whereas this, you can definitely feel like you are pressing it through some Fisher-Price plastic. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's durable plastic. That's why I say Fisher-Price plastic, right? But you can tell, that feels different than way out there, right? Whereas this, feels like you're clicking the switch directly, no matter where you click it. You know. Now that's double the cost mouse, I think. So just something to keep in mind. Look at where they put the battery. Do I gotta go dig that out? Oh, we almost had sausage cat. See, he tucks all of her paws in and stretches out. Well, guys, let me know. We on for a bit there. I don't know. I'm just not impressed. I do like Logitech's gaming mouse. Like, I hate their software. Use the software. You just program it once and use it. The hump of this mouse for me is far too far back. I can deal with the width. If you're running wide the width, even though like Squares was saying, oh, it's not that low, right? But with how wide it is, like the grip, right? Because you have to widen your hand, it goes down, right? At least from my experience, you might call me crazy. And I don't know. It's just not for me. I don't know in the current trend of mice, and I'm not saying you have to follow the trend. Because stuff like the EC2 bucked that trend, I would say, and people are like, oh, it's just based on the IntelliMouse. EC1 is based on the IntelliMouse. The EC2 is like a shrunken version of that shape, but like people hadn't done that. You know what I mean? Like that sort of a thing. Technically, the Death Adder is based on the IntelliMouse Explorer as well. But you know, like I don't know if this is like it kind of also reminds me, like I brought up the G9 at one point, which has like the what do you want to call it on it, like the grip that you can take on and off. This feels like it has a grip that's permanently been put on it that it shouldn't have on it. That's what it feels like to me. And I mean, I didn't measure anything, but it seems based on where the reinforcements and the like the foam is to keep the battery in, that they may have put the hump where it is because of that. Which, if that's the case, especially if you say use power play, that shouldn't have come into it. You know what I mean? Let me know down below your thoughts on this. Have you found anybody out there? Are you the person out there that's like, no, Prof, you are wrong. This is the mouse for me. Okay, so here's my second Orochi. The first Orochi got left in Seattle, accidentally. So it just lives in Seattle now. For like a laptop mouse, I would rather have this. I would not use this for regular gaming. You know what I mean? Ergonomically, I actually think this is a better mouse, despite being too small for regular use, in my opinion, for my hand size. See? Ergonomically, this is a better mouse than this. Because where you grip here, it actually... I just noticed this going to this mouse that curbs in very heavily. You see that? Right, it's got finger grooves, if you want finger grooves. Technically, you're not even gripping this mouse up here where it's flat. It starts being flat, I want to say, like right where that forward button starts, right? You're gripping it back here, so it actually bulges out. Let's see if I can show that. Like, it actually bulges out. It's not even flat. Flat's up there. You can see that? Back here, it actually has like a hump out. Like, whoop. And that is the exact opposite of what I want in a grip. Like, if I had one complaint about the G305, in my opinion, versus like what it was basing itself off, which is the G1 and the G3, and then even older sort of non-gaming Logitech mice that have that classic, what they call the Logitech egg shape, or the original Logitech egg shape, not the egg shape of the MX518, G5, G7, G400. I still need a G400. I have a 400S, guys. If you know of a good condition G400, that's also, it's the best model. So I can understand why you might not want to part with it or something like that. But if you guys have one you're not using, please let me know. I do not have a G400, and that is like the one. I do have a 400S, and the new release MX518, actually two of those, if I recall correctly. One US one was it Taiwanese, Chinese, Malaysian? I'm not sure. Something like that. I think the IntelliMouse Pro came from Taiwan, and the MX518 came from China. I think that's what it was. But let me know what you guys, if you guys can think of mice that look like this. If you put your thumb over it and just think of that as a normal gap, I think there will be more that look similar. And yes, this looks similar to it, but there, okay, looks similar to a G305. No longer looks similar to a G305. Yeah, not at all. So, I do have two G305s. I have a white one and a blue one. The blue one is what I was using for random stuff. I have no idea where either of them are at the moment. Yeah, 0. It was like, that could have been my mouse back when I was doing on-site tech, but I use Bluetooth for my mouse, and then I switch it over to wireless, and I plug the dongle into the client's computer. That was what I was thinking of making this mouse my new work mouse. Actually, besides the Orochi, this is like what I would consider a laptop mouse. You can kind of go back further, and if you look where my thumb is, it's still in the middle of those side buttons. This is a fingertip grip right there. Fingertip. See? Loosey-goosey. You can definitely do that with here, but you're starting to get, as you get further back, you're getting more bulbous and more bulgy, right? And if you grip up way far enough where it's flat enough, you are palming, and my fingers go over, like you're clicking way out on that. Optimal's probably about here. I don't know. I do not think you would want to claw this. I might be wrong. Some of you might say like, oh, that's the perfect claw mouse.
the other one that I would say, this is both the Orochi and the Rival 3, which is what I was going to get here. This is technically the Rival 3 with grips. Are nothing like. This is just better. See, it's got a wide flared ass. Look at that grip. Even upside down, I can grip it. Granted, I had the grip tape. Razor grip tape, and this is actually Aerox 3 grip tape on the sides and the front. Why did I add... Okay, if SteelSeries only sends you these two guys and the side grip guys, why'd I have to have it here? Because if it made it wider, I also had to make it taller. Because remember how I said when you make it wider, your hand goes in? Well, then it became uncomfortable. It started feeling like this, where it's like wider than it is tall. Like, unless you want to grip that... See, I don't feel like that clicks very well like that. I feel like it clips like this, but you're still hovering. Fingertip grip, basically, is, I think, what this is well suited for. That, despite being heavy, because this is not, like I said, this is just the Aerox. This is like my third or fourth set of feet on here, I think. There you go, just one AAA. For those of you saying that this thing doesn't last, you're probably leaving on 1000 hertz all the time. Don't do that. If you're not gaming, you don't need the mouse there. That's why a lot of the mouse software, if you do decide to run the mouse software, lets you actually set, and this goes all the way back to the G700 from Logitech. You could set different polling rates for different profiles. Genius. Or in this case, just use it in Bluetooth mode. So I use this mainly on my work computer in Bluetooth mode. That's why I can last as long as I claim it does. And all you're like, oh, I kill it in 3 days. I kill it. It's a AA killer. The grips are sliding off of here, so I may have to actually peel them off. I never noticed that. Apparently I'm using the grips so hard, they're actually starting to slide down. So maybe I just go back to using this at work. Oh, I did put new clicks in it. These are Kale 2.0s, I want to say. I think it was a 2.0, then the 4.0 is the reds that the red ones that were very clicky that everybody liked, and then there is the 6.0s, which were like the 60 million click variant. I actually like the 2.0s, and people are like, oh, that's because they feel like it was Kale trying to make Omrons. Indeed, but they don't double click because that was the first Kale switch that used the like cross or crisscross pattern to make sure it always has contact when it clicks. So you shouldn't get the... Actually, yeah, this still feels great in the hand. This, by comparison, like like I said, it's not a... This isn't a palm grip, in my opinion. I don't even think it's a claw because of how clunky these clicks are. See, like, if you want to click back here on this, it's like hard. If you go where you're supposed to, throw is kind of shite. A little bit loose feeling, but yeah, maybe I just go back to this guy for work. It's seen better days. I didn't know the grips were falling off. To be truthful, if they're still fine where they are, I'll probably just take an X-Acto out and trim them until they completely fall off, and then I don't know that I would put back on the Razor and the SteelSeries ones. I would probably pull it off and do like Lizard Skins or one of the other brands, and just kind of like, if you're running like how you do those, like people always like try to cut them perfectly. Nah. Just stick it on the side and then cut it out with an X-Acto. That's my recommendation. You're like, well, how do I cut out down here? If you ever done grip tape on a skateboard, you shove it in this side and go and slice it off. There you go. Super easy. So yeah, I'd much rather have this than this. Like, okay, where I grip on this starts curving in this way. Like I said, flat starts right there. That is right where I grip it. So, like, if you gripped it up a little bit further, you'd be on the flat. If you grip it up a little bit further back, you're more on this, like, I don't want to call it claw or fingertip grip, but you're like it's a bit more, it's like less like this scooped flat side that really gets your thumb in there. So you either gotta, like where I want to grip it is right on that transition point. So if you grip it up more, that's gonna feel like you can really grip up on it. But then look at where my fingers are. So you got to claw, I guess, if you grip up far enough. But if you grip up further, it's gonna feel like the G, not 302, the 303, or the 303 Shroud, which is the bigger one, where it's got those like. Okay, on the 303 Shroud, there's like this scalloped side with a cutout, and then forward where you can put your thumb, right? If you get your thumb before that, very comfortable. Imagine the scallop is right here, and that is right where my thumb sits. Like you're sitting it on the scallop. No bueno. No bueno, if you ask me. Like technically, I'm sure this is a fine mouse, and that's generally speaking the only time I ever return it. If you have the only mouse, Best Buy can be a great place to buy them because they have their, I think, generally 14-day return policy. If you have their plan, you could have more than that. I think up to 60. And most of their returns are no questions. For mice, at least, they would be. Also, if you get their warranty, which is like a 2-year warranty over the standard, if it's only got a 1, that's very convenient. You just walk in, even if it's within the normal warranty, you'd walk in, hand them the mouse, they'd hand you a new mouse, or store credit to get another mouse. So realistically, like, if you can only afford 1 or 2 mice, I'm not going to say go and do 10 of them. That's why they have a display. Go and buy one you think works. But if it really doesn't work for you, you can always return it, exchange it, etc. Now, in this case, because I have my collection, this isn't getting returned. Because technically, like as in like from a technological standpoint, this isn't a bad mouse. I'm sure it's actually really good. We're going to be testing that out in some, it's 2 o'clock and I probably need to start going to sleep. Want to play at least a couple games of Call of Duty with this, and check it out, right? The only mouse that I can remember actually like returning, not because I got a duplicate or something like that, is and that's happened because like we were just talking about Fnatic when they made their own mouse, the Clutch versus the Clutch 2. I think I still have a second one around here, new unopened, because I bought it not knowing I already had it because they looked identical. But like the only mouse I ever returned, and you guys have probably seen it because one of my biggest videos, is the Corsair Dark Core. Do not buy that shit. Do not buy that. Okay. Also, Corsair has had like 2 good mice ever. M65, and it's very sound. Technically, M40, M45 is better, but that effective shape, and then the M75 that's in there. I think there's like an M55 that's like fine. But M75 would be, since the M65, like Corsair's first like actually good shape. And like good design mouse. It's still dumb that you can't toggle the DPI on the mouse. The fact that when you just click this button on the bottom, right, it just switches immediately between wireless, like imagine this is your only button, right? Instead of having on-off switch, this button to keep it light and DPI up here, right? So what Razer would do is click, does DPI change, and a hold would change modes, and then a super long hold would turn it on and off. Well, the super long hold, and it's really, really long on the Corsair, does eventually turn off. Clicking it just like that, though, will put it in the Bluetooth mode and put it in the Bluetooth pairing mode. There's no way to switch DPI on the Corsair M75 in there, which is why you don't see me using it more, because I use 400 in games, 1600 desktop. That is how this one will get programmed. That is how I have done it. Basically, since I could do 1600 DPI, I did try 3200 for a time from the desktop when I went to like 1440p. Not even 4K was not out yet, and it's just too fast for me. And I've gotten bigger mouse pads, but that's mostly for the 400 DPI gaming stuff. So let me know your thoughts down below if you've tried this. Squeers did mention it should be on display at Best Buy. I did not see it last time I was in there, but we have a little tiny one. Let me know what you think. I just think you either got to choke up on it to get on the flat part and really, then maybe you got to claw it, or you gotta engrace the bulbous buttocks, and just fingertip grip it. You know, back here, that's where I would normally grip, right in the between the two buttons, and you know, kind of float it with a fingertip grip. Neither of those two are mine. You saw, even upside down, I can grip the, like, that's a good shape. That's a good shape for me. And I'm actually more partial to ambi mice lately. I actually don't like the super ergo. I wouldn't, like, say I wouldn't go to back to an EC2, despite running that for a long time. I've just gotten used to the kind of, you know, this sort of jazz, you know. And we've talked about, like, Rival 106, actually super like it. It's ambi, even though it's ergo. It's like ergo ambi. How does that work? Kind of crazy. See you in the next one.